What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Actually Good Coffee podcast. It's been gone for a couple weeks, but if you're in the coffee industry, I mean, you would know why. I think we can all agree that it's been a eventful 2 weeks in the coffee industry, in the history of coffee. In my short experience of only being involved really in coffee for about 3 years, it's been something. It's been something. Let's just say that. I think the only question left is, what do we do from here, right? Starbucks is officially releasing their new protein lattes and protein cold foam. A historic day for Brian Niccol and the entirety of the Starbucks board, for that matter. What's that? Oh, you thought I meant the historic high price in coffee? Oh, you thought I was referring to the fact that not only is coffee climbing to historic highs yet again this year, but the origin that we contract 50% of our green coffee from has an additional 50% tariff tacked on its price? Well, then you'd be incorrect. Starting September 29th, Starbucks coffee houses in the US and Canada will offer protein cold foam alongside new line of protein lattes made with protein-boosted milk, delivering approximately 15 to 36 grams of protein per grande beverage. These new protein beverages are part of the company's strategy to drive innovation and modernize its menu. As we continue to get back to Starbucks, we're focusing on modernizing our menu with innovative, relevant, and hype-worthy products that will resonate with our customers, said Tracy Lieberman, Starbucks Global Chief Brand Officer. Our new protein beverages tap into growing consumer demand for protein in an innovative, premium, and delicious way that only Starbucks can deliver. According to a 2025 IFIC Food and Health Survey, 70% of Americans say they are trying to consume protein. For the fifth straight year, protein is the nutrient that most Americans say they are trying to consume, with 8 in 10 Americans prioritizing adding protein to their daily diet. Let's learn more about this milk protein. I'm curious how they make it. For extra protein, customers will soon be able to customize with protein-boosted 2% milk on every beverage where milk is part of the recipe, like lattes, iced shaken espresso, and coconut milk refreshers. When protein-boosted milk is customized for a hot or iced latte, it delivers an extra 12 to 16 grams of protein per grande with no added sugar or compromise on flavor. Starbucks protein-boosted milk will be crafted fresh daily by Starbucks baristas, blending creamy 2% milk with unflavored protein powder. And I wonder what protein powder company is just making a killing off this Starbucks deal. So this is set to release towards the end of the month, and if you've been listening to this podcast, you know that we've been talking about consumers becoming more and more conscious of what they put in their bodies since I started doing this podcast, and organizations are following this trend all up and down the supply chain. So now that I've got you hooked, we're gonna take this a bit deeper, you coffee nerds. Take the Rainforest Alliance, for example. On September 8th, they announced their new Regenerative Agriculture Certification. Their goal is to provide a science-backed standard in which farmers can track their impact on soil health and biodiversity. The main argument is that recent studies have shown regenerative practices can improve income by up to 20 to 30%. The Rainforest Alliance's CEO, Santiago Galland, says markets need to move beyond a do-no-harm mindset to one that repairs and restores. Now is the time to transition to a new model of agriculture, one where every cup of coffee gives back more than it takes from the land and the people who care for it. In August of last year, we talked about the Regenerative Organic Alliance creating the Regenerative Organic Certification. The organization was created in 2017 and revised their certification in 2020. This certification measures 3 main components: soil health, animal welfare, and social fairness. Their tiers are bronze, silver, and gold. Bronze means that at least 10% of fiber or food-producing land within an operation must be certified at initial certification and must reach at least 50% by year 5. Alternatively, the certification portion may they represent at least 10% of the operation's revenue derived from food or fiber production. Claims about organic and regenerative organic can only be made about products specifically grown on land that is already certified organic. Any organic and regenerative organic labeling must also abide by USDA organic labeling regulations. Silver is 50% to start, and then 75% of the land by year 5, and gold is 100%, obviously. The thing that is most interesting to me about this certification is how they look to encompass almost all of the current certifications out there in the coffee industry. Again, if you've listened to the podcast before, you know we've talked about this. There's bird friendly, there's organic, there's fair trade, there's women owned, and this certification was the first one that really looked to encompass all of those. Now, I'm currently looking at their framework that's listed on their website, and they are pretty intensive. They include maximum work hours, commitments to a living wage, and child labor protection. Currently, there are 6 farms that are certified by the ROA, 6 coffee farms that are certified by the ROA. So now, on September 8th, the Rainforest Alliance has released their own version of the certification, which is actually great news for all of us, even if it's not so much for the ROA. And their framework looks pretty similar to the ROC, but just a bit more rigorous. Their certification covers management, gender equality, traceability, premium payments, farming practices, social aspects including wages, working conditions, and health and safety, and environment. There's about 34 different categories compared to the ROA's 87 categories that I'm not going to go over for the sake of time, but the Rainforest Alliance's version has many more subcategories under their 34. Both of these organizations look to accomplish the same thing and generally do. It just seems like the Rainforest Alliance gets a bit more specific. Now, some of these categories only pertain to what the RFA considers small farms, while others only apply to large farms. Small and large farms are determined by the amount of workers each location has permanently or temporarily working for them. And now, in terms of price, depending on what part of the supply chain you are in, the ROA charges anywhere between $250,000 to $20,000 and is based on the amount of revenue your business is bringing in per year. So it ranges from, anywhere under $500,000 up to $10 million. The Rainforest Alliance, in comparison, has 4 separate fees associated with their certification to cover the literal hundreds of subcategories within their certification. There's supply chain audit fees, a sustainability differential, which is the cash premium price paid to farmers by their buyers to reward them for implementing more sustainable farming practices and achieving certification. I'm guessing this is on top of the already increased price of their coffee. The sustainability investment, which is also paid directly to farmers, and a volume-based royalty paid directly to the Rainforest Alliance. There it is. I was waiting for that one. For raw green coffee, it's about 0.0175 cents. Just to put that into perspective, if all of our green coffee was contracted by the RFA this year, it would be about under $1,000. That's actually not that bad. I thought I was going to get some dirt on these people. All of these fees associated seem pretty reasonable, actually. Unless they are sneaking in a hidden monster cost within their supply chain audit fee by some third-party company, because they don't necessarily regulate that, and it's just something that I'm not seeing here either. Also, companies whose supply chain risk assessments are very low risk, quote-unquote, will receive an endorsement that and require no audit, so they won't have to pay these fees. Yeah, I'm not sure what to say here. Both the ROA and the RFA's regenerative certifications seem pretty reasonable. Take a look at each of their outlines if you'd like. I'll leave a link within the description. The main takeaway here is that people are continuing to pay more and more attention to what they're eating. Everybody wants to get a piece of this regenerative pie. And if I'm going to be totally transparent here, I'm going to start the process of obtaining one of these certifications. I'm leaning more towards the ROAs, but you guys let me know what you think. I'm curious to hear all of your opinions, and let me know if you're going to buy the new Starbucks protein latte.